For those midday naps, there's nothing like laying in your hammock. However, setting up your hammock can be a pain sometimes, and getting hammock straps or the correct length or durability, sometimes it's just not practical. You want to take a nap right now, and you don't have time to wait for Amazon for a couple of days to get those hammock straps, and you're too lazy to go to the store. So today we're going to talk about making your own hammock strap for about $5 with some rope. So as long as you have rope at your house, you can make this, and you can make it to fit your hammock. So let me show you how. Alright, so this is my hammock. I'll post a link to it on the description below. Bought it on Amazon and it was working out great. The only thing is, the only place I had to hang it was between those two poles, and that's a little bit too close, and it wasn't that comfortable. And then I hung it inside the van and it worked okay, but I mean, I can't lay inside the van all the time. So, hammock straps. I knew these existed. I needed some, and I was gonna order some online, but then although they look too like new, and they're like 15 bucks or so, 10 bucks for a cheaper set, and I don't know, it just looked like something I could make. And I had some rope, and this is one of them that I made. So it's very simple to make, some tying knots, and I'm gonna show you how to do that in a few minutes. Now on mine, I chose this rope that's like a little bit more rustic, and it kind of fits my hammock, which I think is important, because you don't want like some neon green or orange straps and then kind of kill the vibe of the hammock. And they're really sturdy, they're easy to do. You only need to know one type of knot, and you can make all of these. And this rope is rated at 275 pounds, which means that if you use this rope on this side and on the other, you can have someone 550 pounds in the hammock, and that'll hold up fine. And I have these carabiners on mine hammock that are rated at 425 pounds. So the rope would be the weakest point for the hammock, or the hammock itself. So let me get started on showing you how. Alright, so the rope that we are going to be using, it's a little bit tougher to work with. If you want to make it easier to work with and you're cool with the look of it, probably some carabiner would be the better choice of rope to go with. So what you need to get started, and this is the only knot you're going to have to make, okay? Alright, so for this first knot, what I did on mine is I actually made this, it's going to take up 2 feet of rope to do this one knot. So I used a tape measure, measured 2 feet, and then made a loop. Okay, now with this loop, this is the only knot you need to know for the whole setup of this DIY hammock strap making thing. So you're going to make a loop. You're going to make a loop inside the loop, and then you're going to put the middle hook, you're going to put it right through the center there, okay, and pull through. Now like I said, this rope is a little bit tougher to kind of work with, but it's not too bad. Now the whole thing here is, when you're pulling this through, it's not the end of the world if it's not 100% tight, because you are going to make these tighter at a later point. I'll talk about that then. But this first loop, it has to be a little bit bigger so it fits the rest of your loops, because when you wrap it around something, the rope's going to come around, go back through this one with all your new position spots with the knots for your hammock to hook up to. Now once you make that first one, you want to make sure that you make it tight enough, but don't worry about making it extremely tight yet. Now the next step, I measured, once again, 24 inches, 2 feet. Okay, now when I measure 2 feet though, I'm not going to use the full 2 feet to make my next knot, otherwise my next knot's going to be right next to that one. That's not that useful. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to choose a 6-inch spot, and I'm going to make a loop that's 18 inches. So from 6 to 8 to 24, that's 18 inches. And, hold on, this is getting a little wrapped. Okay, sorry, we're inside the van right now. Alright, so then you have this is a loop that if you were to measure it out, the circumference of it would be 18 inches, and that's what we want. So we take it, we do the same knot. Now we're going to make a loop, okay, and then the round part is going to go through the center there, and you're going to pull it through. Once again, you don't have to make it extremely tight. It's not that point yet. One thing that we are going to talk about later, and you can start doing it now, I just didn't bring him with me at this second, but I'll grab him in a second and put him in, you need to put something here. Now you can use a twig, you want something like about the thickness of like an expo marker. I'm gonna grab actually I have a whole bunch of little pieces of PVC kind of left over from another project. So I'm just gonna jam these in here. The reason I'm gonna put those in there is because, well, you'll see in a minute. But you're gonna keep doing this. I did it 10 times on mine. So you're gonna measure again, 24. Find a spot on the tape measure that has 6. Okay, and then that's gonna be a loop. Hold it, put the tape measure down. This loop, once again, has a diameter, not diameter, circumference of 18 inches if you were to measure it. And you take that, you make a loop. And this is going to be a little bit repetitive, but keeping them uniform is important for making sure that you have enough spots to set up your hammock that are useful. You don't want loops that are just too close together or apart. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with these PVC pieces. You can slide them in here, and then these are really the only reason they're here is to make sure that this hole doesn't get any smaller than this, because you want to be able to fit your carabiner through there, so that you can hook it on there if you need to. Okay, and I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna grab another one. See, that one's kind of loose, this one's a little tight, so that meant that if I hadn't put that in there, chances are once we tighten all this, it might have gone actually a little bit too tight. So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna measure another 24 inches. Grab it at 6, make a loop, hold the tape measure. Now with this loop, make a smaller loop and then run the center of that first loop through the smaller circle and pull it through. Now we're gonna add our piece of PVC this time, since I have them accessible now, just to kind of hold that position. And in essence, what you're gonna have is, you're gonna have a whole bunch of these that are simply gonna be about 6 inches away from each other. Okay, so now if we measure this, it's not gonna be exact because I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but if we measure from this one to this one, it's about 6.5 inches. This guy to this guy, 5.5. And if you want to get real particular and be exact, go for it. I don't. So one thing you could do, depending on what you plan to wrap it around, mine I'm probably going to wrap it around a lot of thinner posts, like my backyard carport post or smaller trees. But if you think that if you really think you're going to be kind of spreading out a lot, you can leave this first gap longer. I left it about 6 inches, the same as all the other ones, but you could leave it longer, just in case you know you're going to be wrapping around a really wide tree or something really wide. But in my case, I'm just going to leave it about 6 inches because I feel like that's probably the most useful position for mine. So then, let's see. We have 1, 2, 3. And I mean, it's very repetitive. It's almost therapeutical. I mean, maybe you find that making knots is what you've been missing your whole life. It's just like repetitive. It's nice. It makes you feel good about working with your hands. Oh yeah, and I haven't told you guys, but the reason I haven't made any videos in a while is actually talking about hands, because I broke my arm, my right arm. I had to have surgery, fell off my longboard. Yeah, I know. And in that time too, I turned 30. A lot of stuff this summer happened. And I mean, mainly I didn't make any videos because falling off my longboard made it so that it was extremely painful to do anything with my arm for the last few weeks. And barely now able to really pull with my arm. Before I was able to pull a little bit, but it just kind of hurt, so I didn't want to push it. Plus they gave me this cast that's removable now. So anyway, in case you were wondering, I know there's a lot of die-hard YouTube, pothole surfer fans out there that were just devastated. I think for this side, since the other side has more, I'm just gonna cut it here just to show you now. So once you make it all, then you need to cut it. Now you need a knife. Right, so when you're done, this is kind of what your hammock strap is going to look like. It's going to look like a big loop with a whole bunch of smaller loops. Right now they have this PVC pipes in there. We're going to take those off in a second. But when you want to get to use it, what you need to do is you find out where you're going to hang. Now we are going to hang it from this beam here, and it's going to get kind of jammed up against this beam. Yeah, we're going to go there. Okay, so what you do is you throw it over. Okay? And this first time putting in it through this hole with all these PVC pipes is a little bit more time consuming, but usually it doesn't take this long. The way I like to tighten my hammock strap so that to make sure it's tight is I take off one by one. I take off these PVC pieces, and then with the hammock, or even if you really want to, if you trust yourself, you can even sit on the hammock, and with your weight, it'll start pulling these tighter and tighter. Okay. Now, there's one. That's the first one. I'm going to play around with this, make sure it's as tight as possible. Kind of squeeze it around, and yeah. So that's one. Move on to my next one. Fourth one. And anyway, you keep going through, and I'm removing the PVC pieces as I'm moving up because I like to keep those in place to make sure that loop doesn't close off too much. But I like to pull these tight first and then try it out with my weight before laying in and take my nap, because otherwise you start getting ready for your nap, you get all excited, and then it turns out they're not tight enough yet. They start to expand, and you need to get up, move it up to a different one, then you move it up to that one, and then it turns out that they're still not tight enough. So then you need to go to the next one, and this is kind of annoying. So just don't do that. Instead, you just take a minute or two and just do this. Plus, it's safer. You never know. What if you didn't do the notch right? Even though it's not pretty bulletproof, what if you didn't do it right? Last one is actually after the point. Now, this is just part of hanging your hammock. You want to make sure that the points that you pick to hang your rope from, your hammock strap from, is taller than you, so above 6 feet. Now in that case, I mean, it can be lower, but I like finding a higher spot, even if it's a tree. So I hung it there, ran it down. Now if you look here, this hammock's pretty low, especially once you put your weight on it, it's going to sink even further. So the plus side is I already have my other hammock strap that I showed you in the beginning of the video on my other side. I'm going to move it up. Still think it's a little bit high there, so I'm going to move it up some more. Then the adjustability of this is awesome, because I mean, that goes for any hammock strap. They're definitely, I think, a must-have when you have a hammock or are a hammock enthusiast like myself. So I don't know if that's a thing, but it should be, because hammocks are awesome. A lot of people go and waste all this money on rooftop tents and stuff, and I think soon we're gonna make a hack to be able to put a rooftop tent on the roof of my F-unit. Not to mention, now I tied it up on both sides. Let's give this a shot. Still kind of double checking this. Okay, lit there. Good. And now we're ready for that. The plus side is, like in this case, my feet are a little bit taller. If I don't want them to be, I can just adjust it. But the good thing for me, I like my feet to be a little bit taller when I'm laying back here. So this works out. Now, till next time, keep surfing those potholes. Don't fall off your longboards if you don't want to break your arms. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. More videos to come on simple life hacks, because can't really do much with my arm situation. But for now, I'm taking that. Thanks for watching.